Big welcome to the Young Hearts Run Free podcast. Carol, how are you doing this fine evening?
I am very well. How are you two doing?
I'm tickety boo. John?
Top drawer. Really looking forward to this.
We absolutely are looking forward to it, and we've been chatting about doing something like this for quite a wee while, and so it's good to get a date in the diary. And there's reasons that we picked this date, and we'll get round to speaking about that. But Carol, in true Young Hearts Run Free fashion, we like to find out a wee bit more about you, the person, the athlete, the runner, first of all. So passing the mic over to you to give us your story, your origin story.
The origin. It's mad because I thought I'd have this kind of nailed on really after doing it quite a few times myself, but I don't think I have. But in terms of the running side of things, the origin of my running story started in 2014, 12 years ago now. Used to play football, the team folded, then went on to play rugby, that kind of folded as well. And then it was a case of always being a physical person, but just wanted something else to have a go at. And it pretty much started with a run club at work at the local council. Pete and Peter was a coach at the time, and she just did a session on like a Tuesday dinner time. She invited me down to that. When I did a few sessions, realised I was still fit from football and rugby, and I was actually pretty good at it. And then it was pretty much from that went to Parkrun a few times, then started doing a couple of races, and it just kind of escalated from there and snowballed. And before you know it, marathons and ultramarathons and everything else kind of get from it. But yeah, it pretty much just was from a run club one dinner time, and enjoyed being back out there actually doing something.
Less chance for a running club folding as well. It's like Carol will come along and the thing will fold.
Yeah.
Only joking.
No.
I'm only joking. We often so it was a work type initiative that run club, was it? Because John and I have been involved in similar.
Yeah, it was just like I said, Peter she was at Red Rose at the time, the local running club near me, and she was doing her own coaching and stuff, and she was running Cuden Valley Parkrun. So that was the one literally 5 minutes away from me. So, like I say, she just said, come on, let's go and do something. So from there, it was pretty much Parkrun every Saturday morning then for weeks on end, and loved it. And it's one of those, I am competitive, but I wasn't competitive at the start. It was kind of like you end up finishing top 20, top 10. Then all of a sudden it was kind of like, you know what, I'm top 5, I'm top 3 here. And then she was like, right, we need to kind of take it a little bit serious and start doing a bit of training sort of thing. But at the time though, I was still smoking. I was smoking other stuff as well. And I'd been on, like, not going too deep into it, but from the age of probably 21, I'd enjoyed my kind of narcotic side of things. So I'd had a pretty heavy spell for a few years of doing all sorts, really. So I think deep down, the running and the run club was taking me away from that slowly. I didn't realise at the time, but it was kind of changing my life for the better. Subconsciously kind of knowing it was happening, but not realising at the time.
And I like to get my timeline in order. 2014, and this is asking you a personal question, Carl, I hope you didn't mind me, but what age were you when you took up running?
So then I'm 37, nearly 38 now, so it'd have been 25, 26.
Okay.
If my maths is right.
Perfect. John?
Football. You can speak about rugby if you want, but that's a different podcast, really. Yeah. But football's got our interest. A number of side questions about football. What position did you naturally feel was yours? Football pitch?
Naturally, I went through pretty much most positions. Playing as a kid, I was in the net, and then realised I wasn't getting much taller than 4'8". Then went to centre back after a bit of a spurt. Then I was at centre mid, and then eventually, as an adult, I found myself at under 16s being left back, and that's where I stayed for the next 8 years.
Okay. Do you follow a football team?
Yes, I'm a Manchester United fan, which is pretty stereotypical, isn't it, really? From someone being up north.
That's cool. Who did you imagine you were? What Man United, was it a Man United player? What professional footballer did you think you were when you were a kid? Who did you want to be?
As a kid, I think it was more, as a United fan, it was kind of all of them: Roy Keane, David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Giggs. And
None of them
then,
played at left back.
yeah,
I
I
think
know.
you were say Dennis Irwin or something.
The problem was there was better players in midfield, so I was never going to get in midfield. So left back, I could do a job. I was fit as a fiddle, and I could get up and down. And I actually enjoyed that position after making it my own, really. But yeah, it's probably because I wasn't good enough to actually play in other positions. But I definitely made left back my spot once I'd.
A tiger in the tackle.
Yes, too right. Yeah, never give up and all that lot.
Yeah. You've mentioned, sorry, Stephen, you've mentioned a golden period of Man United, though. Mention the players that you've mentioned.
Yes.
Phenomenal team at that time. Stephen?
I was just going to say, we'd always check in with guests if they've got time constraints at the other end. Man United are playing tonight, Carl. I thought you'd been like that. I need to get
They
finished
are.
for kick-off. Brentford.
Yeah, half time. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Thank you. Sacrifices that we make.
You've got to, haven't you? You've got to.
Now, you mentioned, and we maybe hear a wee chat about football later on in the podcast, so tease for that one. The running club. You've been part of a running club yourself. You mentioned a local run club there when you were saying about the park runs and such.
Yes, I was at Red Rose for years, and then I ended up swapping to Preston, and then had a couple of years there, and then went back to Red Rose, and then went back to Preston. So I've kind of, it's all dependent on the training which I've done, because Red Rose is, I'm not saying a community club, but there's pretty much a couple of fast runners, and the rest of it's more community based. But
Yep.
I think that's where probably the reason I went back there is after I went Preston, because it's everyone that supported me, everyone that cheered me on it where I started running. And once I'd left originally, it was kind of like I was missing something, because you would turn up to race days and Red Rose weren't there, and there'd normally be, you can guarantee there'd be 10, 15, 20 people at every race, where Preston, it was the odd selected kind of people, and you'd turn up to races on your own. So Red Rose for that was fantastic. Like, no matter where you went, there was always people there.
In Preston, that's your hometown.
Preston's, yeah.
Yeah.
And Red Rose is just pretty much within Preston.
Okay. And it sounds, Carol, sorry, John, I'll let you come in a second. It sounds as if, and this doesn't surprise me, that social aspect is a vital component to your running as well. You know, like, okay, you can go away and run those races almost because you've been selected or whatever, but that was maybe not ticking all the boxes.
No, it's, I think the more I've kind of gone into it, it's definitely a social side of things as well. Like the park run we went to, the people I started park with in 2014, 2015, like I still speak to the majority of those people. So it's set me up well within the running community, and to be fair, there's probably a lot of them that I can now call friends and really good friends. So
John,
highly recommend it.
We spoke last week with Lewis Bonus, and he wasn't the first person that's mentioned about club rivalry. However,
yes,
the Red Rose and the White Rose,
yes,
the counties, because the Red Rose is Lancashire. Is that correct?
That is, yes.
Is there a healthy rivalry between Lancashire and Yorkshire?
I think there is in the sporty side of things. On the running side, I think my only rival that I give a bit of jip to is Mel Sykes. We kind of, have a bit of banter with it, because she is full on Yorkshire, Mel. Full on Yorkshire through and through, which she is.
She is. And she will give as good as she takes as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, she starts it. So, which is that's what they like from Yorkshire, you know.
Okay, well, let's not give her a hard time. She's not here to defend herself, so
no.
I'm sure she might get in touch with you to let you know what she thinks.
Yeah, of course she will.
Okay, but Red Rose, because I don't think we've never spoken to anybody who's mentioned that, and that's when you said that, Red Rose. I thought you see it on the way down when you're driving down. You see it on the signs.
Yes,
the Red Rose. Okay, Cool. Okay. Go back though. The story that you've got about that I heard at the lakes at the Lakeland in the tent. Do you want to speak a wee bit about that?
Yeah, I can go through it.
Please do. Yeah.
Where do I start? I'll start at the beginning, pretty much. So 2006, how old was I then? 17, I'll have been. So 2006, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is cancer of kind of like the neck area, lymph nodes, different stages. So you've got 1 through to 4. I was diagnosed with stage 2A, which 1 being the best and 4 being the worst sort of thing. But of the cancers, Hodgkin's lymphoma is pretty much one of the best ones you can get, or should I say the most treatable.
Okay.
Best one isn't the right wording for that. But yeah, that was that was 2A. So once I'd had my scans and all my tests and everything else, it was pretty much bit of chemotherapy, bit of radiotherapy, and everything should be gone. And that's what happened essentially. It's a long story to get into, but it was basically from diagnosis, 5 months, 6 months of chemotherapy, and then it was about a week. I can't remember exactly, but a week or 2 of radiotherapy then, which was just to kill off any kind of leftover cells that were roaming about the body.
And then, so is it do you ever get like a clean bill of health, as good as it's going to be? Is that?
This was kind of tied into Lakeland. From that, so the year after that, I got called back in. I had to go for heart surgery because they found like a lump it was a shadow on my heart. And it turned out I went in for, they called it heart surgery, but I don't think it was. But they found a lump next to my heart, and it turned out just to be a lump of, well, I think it was described as gristle. So it was nothing. Basically, they cut me back open and went in near my heart for no reason, but they couldn't take the chance. But from that, in 2022, I'd have finally got a message from one of the nurses saying I didn't need to come back. So I was pretty much doing an appointment every 12 months at the Christie just to have a scan, x-ray, checkup, bloods, whatever it might be. So it was all in 22 that I was actually kind of said, like, look, it's not going to come back. You've got more chance of getting something else than what you have this cancer. So that was quite a nice feeling, really, that I didn't have to go back, because it was kind of every year it was not a it was a reminder. It was a reminder in a good way, but I didn't want to be walking through the hospital at 30, 35 years old. Do you know, I'd been there, done it. Yeah, it was part of my life, but it was kind of time to move on from going to that hospital. Because they're not a nice place, are they? Do you know?
But they're good if you need them. Yeah,
good if you need. To be fair, the Christie was unbelievable. But only if you need to be there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing a very personal thing. Really appreciate that. And also, it's your experience, but I think you're probably making it a bit more lighthearted than it actually was. It must have been really concerning for you and your family at that time. Yeah. How did they find out about it? How did they find out?
It was a bit mad, really, because I'd started. So we're playing football at the time, still fit and healthy, and there were a few symptoms for it that we didn't realise at the time. But one of them was like moodiness, which you just kind of put to going out, having a few beers, or just being tired, or whatever it might be. At 17, you don't really question it. The other one was itchy legs, which I'd never really thought about. But when I was told that it is a symptom, you kind of like, do you know what? I've been itching my legs for weeks now. But the main one was a lump on my neck. It just came out of nowhere. But I put it down. We always laugh about this. I had bump meds when I was younger. So when I was playing on my PlayStation, I used to lie sideways, like on my left hand side, to play on my game. And it was on that side. So I remember seeing the specialist. I was like, it's just because I play PlayStation quite a bit. And he was like, I don't think it is. You know?
So that list of things you've just mentioned, that could be critical for somebody listening. If they've got any of these sort of symptoms, then they just go and get it checked out, you know. So thank you. Thank you.
And the cancer I had it's only found pretty much within teenagers and young adults. So it's not a cancer that's found in like 30, 40, 50-year-olds. It's more of a teenage child, kind of young adult cancer, that one.
because we did hear Mark Lathwaite speak about it on the stage at the ceremony. Did you get put to the VIP area?
The VIP, but to be fair, the VIP, I know it's great being at VIP, but you can't see it, you can't hear anything. You basically just stood at back. It's like being, I don't know, just sent out of the room.
Excluded to the VIP area.
You're at the back, aren't you? Like, I literally couldn't see anything or hear anything. After that, I was a bit like, can I come back in?
One of my questions about the VIP area at Lakeland is the beer chilled? It was warm in that.
It was cold.
That's good. Okay.
Well, I sampled it when I was in there, John. I was in there in media capacity. I was like,
that must have been the year I was driving then.
You were up the front on the stage, sitting there like as if you were royalty.
Yeah, it was. With little waves.
Sweating.
Video and Lars.
Okay, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to Ron and Stephen.
Yeah. So we're going to speak about the lakes next, but just in terms of, you've obviously 2014, you've picked up running, you've started to get better at park run, times are chibbying down, places are, becoming podiums and etc. When then did you then say, right, okay, park runs to 10Ks to halves to marathons? When was that sort of scheduled in?
It was pretty short after. So I think it was October 2014 I started doing them properly. And then in 2015 I decided to run every day and raise money for the Christie. So I kind of threw myself into it. It was pretty much minimum of a mile a day. And then in that I'd set myself some goals of doing some 10Ks, some half marathons, and then the goal at the end of the year was to do a marathon, and that was at Chester. And then in between that, we'd done Land's End, John O'Groats in the summer, so we're still having to do, say, 100 mile on the bike, and then at 10 o'clock at night in the middle of Scotland, go and do a mile just down a random country road, which was good fun.
Wait a minute. So you, at this point in time, you were cycling for John O'Groats to Land's End or other way around?
Land's End to John O'Groats, so we finished in John O'Groats. But that was just part of the year. That wasn't like the running was the focus. We just threw that in just for.
That's the easy way, though, isn't it? That way.
Yeah, it's all downhill.
The map it is now. It's like up. Okay, so that Chester marathon, how did that go?
It was too soon. Okay. But I was fast at that point, so I think I'd gone off for a sub 3, thinking I was Billy Big Balls, and turned out about, I think it was mile 14 that it was going wrong very fast. I came away with, I think it was 3:27, so it was an hour and 30 for the first half, and then nearly 2 hours for the second, which, to be fair, is still a respectable time, but it wasn't pretty.
It's pretty much how I've based my whole marathon approaches ever since I've done my first marathon. Well done. So then did things all part of the learning process, tune in the training, and things started getting a little bit better in terms of the longer distances?
Yeah, I think that's when it kicked in, because once I could have a rest from the mile a day, whatever it was, it was then, I think I did Manchester, London and Chicago marathon the year after. So I'd started actually properly training, having the right rest, right recovery. Didn't really know what I was doing, but I was doing it better than what I'd done. And because I was doing it consistently, I was just getting better week on week, and it just gives you a bit of confidence that you're enjoying it. When you're doing well, you enjoy stuff, don't you?
Maybe it's the right time to ask, do you have a run coach, or is your run coaching done through Red Rose?
At the time, I didn't have a coach until a couple of years ago. So I've been through a couple now. So Brennan Townshend, I've had them a few years ago. Chris Holdsworth as well. He's run for Innovate. Brennan's got his own company with, I forgot his wife's name now. She'll kill me. Can you edit her wife's name and just do a voiceover?
We'll say yes, but
yeah. and then recently I've had Anna from Speyer Running. She's done my marathon coaching for this marathon that I've done.
What's Anna's last name?
Anna Kluknika.
Okay.
KLUKNICA. I'll send it you.
Yeah, do that because it'd be nice to tag them in if they're on stuff. So what difference has Anna made? Let's go recent. What difference has Anna made to your running?
With this block of training, I've not done for a marathon. I've never done a proper block. Like I'd never. I just kind of I blagged it for years just off enjoying running. But this was a lot more intense. The training was there. The sessions were there. The aim was to try and not miss any if I was up to it. And it went well, bar the past couple of weeks and just getting a niggle pretty much a couple of days before the actual race. So it kind of set me back quite a bit, to be fair. But it was more getting the sessions in. I'd never really done the sessions properly, just done it off my own back. So I've learned a lot from this. Didn't necessarily get the best time, but session-wise, I can now leave that and I'm confident that I can do sessions. I know what speed to do them at, etc. So it's just a bit of what do you call it? A bit of structure.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've learned quite a lot from working with Anna as well, and also similarities between Stephen and yourself. Stephen had a brilliant training block until like 2 or 3 weeks before Paris.
Oh, that one. I was thinking more like the time that Bob Turner had trainers for Boston, incidentally enough, which, do you know, was my first sort of exposure to that structure, Karl. And you do come away with a lot of learnings from it. Did you enjoy it?
Towards the end, I was tired. So I definitely enjoyed it because I was pushing myself in ways that I'd not pushed myself before. But I kind of look at it, and this is not down to coach or anything. I've done so this previous marathon I'd done 2:50:37, where I'd done a marathon on my own with 2:44 with no training, no specific training. It was basically just go running when you want in the hills on the flat. No real sessions, just build up a bit of fitness and no pressure. Well, I think there was kind of put a lot of pressure on myself, but it happens when it's running. When you're running marathons, anything can happen. Whether you're fit, you're not fit, anything can happen.
Careful.
Just thinking about that, you're a busy guy. We have to coordinate the timings of this. Thankfully, it all worked out well for us. But you're a busy guy. You work different hours. How did you fit the training in your training block around your work?
It was, to be fair, I'd had a good spell of the first 3 months, January, February, March. I think I'd only had a couple of night shifts, so it went pretty well. It was the last week. So Boston was on the Monday. The week before on the Monday, I was on a night shift till about 4:30. And then on the Tuesday, it was like 6:30, 6:45 by the time I was getting in bed. So I've gone from getting up at 5 a.m. to then only starting work at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and then getting in complete opposite end of it. And I'm not saying that contributed to the injury, but that week, if I'd have been sleeping right, as I have been for the previous 3 months, then I think I'd have gone into Boston a lot better. Where I were knackered when I got to Boston because obviously the time difference going back there, the travel and everything else. That first, I don't know if it got in my head a little bit, but those 2 nights, they weren't like they were 2 o'clock in the mornings. They were 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and they knackered me out. They completely knackered me out. So on that side, that was pretty horrific. But the January, February, March, if you kind of going down the coaching route, then you stick to it, because otherwise there's no point doing it. So whether it was 6 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, weekends, you do it. If you want to do it, you do it.
Okay, thank you. Because we do this as a hobby, you know. But there's life, and there's work, and there's lots of other stuff, and we've got to sort of juggle that. And everybody's different how they manage to do that. But doing a night shift like that, you know what it's like. If you're a couple of late nights at a weekend, it can take you to Wednesday to Thursday to recover. Yeah. But if you're going to be running a marathon as well, that's a different thing. What about, do you and Anna talk about fueling? And how did you fuel Boston?
Yeah, we went through fueling, but I think through doing the trail stuff and the ultra stuff over previous years, I think fueling for a marathon for me now is quite easy in terms of this one was my 14th, so it wasn't like it was my first one where I'd done it. But with that, it was what I have had 6 gels on the course itself, so pretty much every 4 mile. And then my last one was at like mile 23, so 6 gels. I think it was 180 grams of carbs. But it's worked for me before, 6 gels, so I was never changing it. And I think it worked pretty well. But I know people take 8 gels, 4 gels. Everyone's got a different.
Yep. What kind of gels? Sorry, Stephen.
They were. I should really know this off the top of my head, should I?
We know you're just getting the top in. We know you're just doing that.
I'll be getting the jacket in there.
Getting the flex going there.
Which the pink, yellow, and I think mine's gone completely blank now.
Precision hydration.
Precision fuel, yeah. So I've been trying Morton and the precision ones. The Morton, they're the best ones to be honest, but they are, you're paying like £253 every time. But when you're doing training runs, it turns out expensive. If you're doing a long one, it might cost you a tenner.
Totally. I hear you. Was it Morton out on course?
Morton out on course, yeah. And they're the proper ones. I was overheard some Americans speaking in front of me, and one of them has said his mate had worked out that if he did, I don't know, if he took like 20 gels, whatever it was, he'd pretty much get his fee back for what he did. I'll laugh at that, yeah.
I was filling my backpack through them. I'm like,
I'd be very surprised if people didn't, because they had the caffeine ones at like £3.50, the 160-gram ones as well. So you could have done a bit.
Talking about caffeinated gels, what were you taking? Caffeinated or uncaffeinated?
No, just normal gels.
Normal gels. Okay.
I've never tried the caffeine side of things. I think I'm scared of it.
Okay.
Going through.
That's cool.
John, are we jumping into Boston?
Well, before we do that, yeah, we are. But before we do that, when did the 6-star thing come on your radar? When did that become real? Because you're talking about, we do park runs and we do a half marathon, we do a 10K, and then you do a marathon. You've done 14, you've said. Yeah. When did the 6-star thing become, could have a go at that?
It's still not. I don't think it's even a thing as of yet. Like, I've not got it in my head that like, next year I'm going to do, I've still got Tokyo and New York to do. Like, it's not a plan in terms of I've gone over the next 5 years I want to do it. I've just randomly ended up doing London in 2016 for charity, Berlin I did for charity in 2018, in Chicago, so I did in 2016 because we got in through the ballot. So it was more just coincidence that them marathons had come up really than anything.
Yeah. No, by design.
Was it 2018? You were in Berlin, Stephen.
I've got an awful feeling it was.
I think
it was a nice day.
It to be fair, it was perfect conditions to bonk.
Yeah. Kipchoge set a new world record that day that we were there. I think that was 2018. I think it was. So this happens.
Yeah, he was on the medal. He was on the medal, weren't he, Kipchoge?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was. That was it. Yeah, there you go. We were towing the same line as you back
Little
then.
did we know in 2018 that 8 years later we'd be sitting here doing this.
I know, that's madness.
So sorry, Stephen. Yeah, Boston. Let's do Boston.
I had brown hair back in 2018. But it was dyed.
Boston. So Boston's obviously well known. It's in terms of how difficult it can be for some people to qualify, getting you good for age and then waiting for that good for age being enough underneath the rest of the people who put in for it. Take it that was secured for you last year.
Yeah, it was pretty. I'd run the times before, so it was never. It was more when I'd kind of wanted to do it more than not if I was going to get into it. So
what made you decide 2026?
It was pretty much so for my girlfriend. She'd run the time at Manchester the year before as well. So it's just I fancied a trip away and asked her the question, do you fancy Boston? And it'd always like it's the first major marathon or your third marathon, so she was well up for it. And I don't need any encouragement once there's an idea there. So
brilliant. And was it something that you knew the backstory of and how iconic it was for quite a while in terms of that sort of being the ultimate?
I'd like to say yeah, but not really. It was more once I booked it and people were kind of saying, you go into Boston, and then you kind of start looking into it a little bit more. Then I'd always heard of it, but I'm not going to lie and say, oh, it was always the dream to go and do Boston. It never was. It just came on my radar. I thought about it a bit, but it was never, like I said, the number one goal. But once I booked it, it was then a case of, yeah, it's massive, this. And it was.
And did you head out on the Friday? I know it's a Monday. Sorry, I should have. I often forget that Boston's on the Monday on Patriots Day. Did you head out on the Friday or the Saturday?
It was the Friday. Got there. I don't know. Some balloons. I hope that's in the recording.
It is. Me too. Me too.
There's not anyone behind me, is there?
Sorry, that put me right off my stride there, those balloons. That it was. So, sorry, did you went on the Friday, did you say?
Went the Friday, yeah. Flew to Dublin and then Dublin to Boston. It takes out it's so much easier. It takes out all the visa and the immigration side of it. So it's much
because you do that in Dublin. Is that Aer Lingus?
Aer Lingus, yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
So, and did you sign up to do the 5K?
No.
We
went and did Jamaica Pond Port Run on the Saturday, which was about 15 minutes away from where we were staying in North Quincy. That would be North Quincy.
Through all these hotels when I was looking for mine.
Yeah, to be fair, we weren't going to do it, but we had Janie Perry on the podcast, and she messaged us randomly saying she stayed with a lady called Maureen, who's an Irish lady that lives in North Quincy, and she's wondering if anyone wants to stay throughout Boston. So instead of paying £2,500 and £500 a night, Maureen was a little bit cheaper. We give her some money for a charity, and happy days.
Oh yeah.
118. Yeah. So we know someone now. If anyone goes back to Boston, we know someone.
What's she doing in June, by the way?
For the football. Brilliant. How then? You mentioned earlier on, Karl, about being kind of tired from work. You then got to travel on top of that, which can be tiring too.
Yeah.
So you flew on the Friday. When did you actually arrive in Boston?
So we arrived at, what time did we get there? Off the top of my head, I think we got to Maureen's place at probably, what would it have been, 9 o'clock. So there'd been 2 o'clock in the morning, pretty much. So 9 o'clock Boston time, 2 o'clock in the morning.
9 p.m. Friday night Boston time.
Is that right? That 9 p.m.
Yeah, the back that we
9:05. Yeah, it will have been. Yeah, because it was about 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock we got to bed. 10 o'clock their time. Yeah.
So you've got 48 hours to get yourself sorted out before Monday.
Yeah.
How was that? How was the weekend?
This is where I'm going to swear. It was a shit show on my side, to be honest. I'm not saying it didn't go well, but we went to do Port Run on the Saturday, and I had one. They call it shakeout runs now. I had a run to do, which was pretty much 3 mile, 1 mile warm up, 1 mile just strides, and then a cool down. And literally probably about 20 meters into the strides, my calf, which I'd struggled with for a few weeks, it did pop, but there's a sharp pain down it that was enough to make me pull up. And then that didn't ease up at all, and it's still not right now. So it didn't. Sophie did well on Saturday and Sunday because I was not in a good mood at all.
I can imagine that can turn a good mood into a really flat mood really
quickly.
Yeah,
especially when I felt really the niggle was there, but like I basically ran the marathon in pain. I'll go through it in a bit, but it wasn't ideal. And then I was walking around Saturday, going to do the expo, and then we did a bit of venturing on Sunday, and I'm still just hobbling about, just thinking like, what's the point, you know?
Oh yeah.
Which it was not the right attitude, but I'd gone there to race. I hadn't gone there to have a jolly day out, you know. I'd gone there to race specifically. So
yeah. And how was your sleep that the Saturday night, Sunday night? Because I know from personal experience it can be quite difficult with the time difference, and even though you're tired, your mind will not switch off or whatever else.
Yeah, we pretty much woke up. We got to bed at normal time, shall I say, but we're waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then we was awake for like 2 hours, and then you'd be going back to sleep for an hour before then getting up properly. So it wasn't, the week leading up from the nights, like if I look at me, I did a little YouTube video on it, and yeah, it wasn't good.
Body battery, 40.
I don't wear it for that reason.
Fortunate
It'd been a good one.
Sleep score 42.
40, yeah.
You know, and it does get into your mind. You're right in that. You're right. No, to look at it, you hate to disassociate. That's what I try and do when I know that things are going to shit.
Yeah, and you've got to. But the more I kind of think about it, the more I think people that are, including myself, going over to America, Tokyo, chasing good times, like, you can't. If you want to go and chase a good time, go to Chester around the corner and sleep there, and go and spend 10 minutes getting ready, then go and run a good time. Don't spend days traveling, for example, and then try and run a good time on a course you've never done before. So,
but you're chasing the new experience, and well, some people are chasing the 6-star medals and such like, and these running in iconic places, and sometimes then that outweighs the attraction of just like sleeping in your own bed the night before, getting up as if it was a normal training run, which you've done for the previous 16 Saturday mornings or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you expect everything. Yeah, so I absolutely can relate to what you're saying.
You'd have to go and acclimatise, wouldn't you? You'd have to go and stay for a week before to get yourself ready. But that's just costing much more money. Unless you've got a mooring, it could be all right. But then it's time off work. It's all these sorts of things. So totally,
we're no professional athletes, are we?
Yeah, totally get what you're saying. But just bringing back that analogy of football, Boston for some people was like the World Cup final, right? So what was the vibe like, Karl?
To be honest, the vibe, the city, and everything else. If I was comparing it to anything, it'd be basically Lakeland, but in a marathon, in terms of it was just that vibe of community. And if you was doing Boston, it was like everyone was together and everyone supported each other. That was before, during, after, and it's just one big massive. It's pretty much like Lakeland, kind of on steroids in Boston, for a road marathon. That's the only way you can kind of describe it, really. I think the best thing about it, everyone was looking out for each other, and even in like your coffee shops, they'd be writing little notes on it, like, I don't know, run Boston, or good luck for Monday, etc. Just little things, nice little touches.
Yeah, it takes over the city, doesn't it? It totally takes over the city. Like I was in Paris the other week, and yeah, it was, but there's parts of Paris that you wouldn't know a marathon was going on, but because Boston's quite compact, city centre, whatever they call it, central business district, whatever. It's the whole place is centred around the marathon for that weekend.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the biggest I've seen it in terms of the city being taken over for it. And like I said, because it's quite a small city in terms of where they do everything. Yeah, I've never seen before like pop-up shops. Like they had like Nike, the Rabbit, a few other sponsors, New Balance, etc. That had just come into these. Like, I'm not saying they weren't derelict houses, but just houses along Newbury Street, I think it was. So once people gone to the expo, Newbury Street was just rammed with people trying on new vests, new outfits, whatever it might be. Too busy for me.
I was going to say, did you manage to avoid spending extras?
I didn't spend anything with it. Sophie, I think Sophie got a new vest, but it was one point it was like, look, we've come here for a marathon. I'm not saying we have to go home, but can we please leave Newbury Street, because I can't walk anywhere without bumping into someone,
And that was where Nike had that controversial advert.
Yeah. Well, I spoke about this with Steve yesterday. Like, what's your opinion on that? I found it quite, I'm not saying humorous, but I think you had to be there in Boston to kind of, like, no one was having a go at the walking side of it. It was just more seen as I don't know, it was a bit of
I get it through the two lenses. I think it was very much done tongue in cheek, but I can also completely see how people out of context have taken it, quite offensively.
Yeah.
Am I probably thinking Nike knew exactly what they were doing?
Oh, yeah. They're not daft, are they? They're not daft with it.
Listen,
What was it? Runners welcome, walkers tolerated, weren't it? Which there's just no need for them to do it. Like there's just no need to go down that route, is there? But everyone was talking about Nike for 2 days, so
exactly. And regardless of what it is,
we are still talking about it now.
Everybody's talking about your product or your whatever it is. And I've also seen photographs of other people making other similar signs, so it's impacted on a lot of stuff. They're not daft, these people that work in advertising.
No.
Runners welcome, Cassidy tolerated.
I'll never be tolerated. I didn't want to be. I am untolerated, intolerable.
Intolerable.
Not welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly where I want to be. So let's talk about the actual event. You're saying about your calf wasn't feeling the best. It was going to have an impact on your race. I've not been. Is it Boston that they say is a bit of a downhill at the start and people go off like crazy fast?
Yeah, I don't know exact mileages, but I kind of see it as it was first 3-4 mile that was downhill. But I've watched YouTube videos on it, I've studied the course, etc. And still, until you've done it, it doesn't really do it justice in terms of it's a massive downhill, but you're soon coming back up an hill. It's not like just a big downhill, it's flat. You kind of big down for a mile, and then you're up for quite a bit, then you're down, then you're up. There's probably only about 2 miles that are actually flat on the course.
It was undulating, is the word they use,
all the way from that. Because I read that from mile 5 to 16, it was flat. There was nothing flat about it. Like I said, probably 2 miles genuinely that was flat, that you could actually settle into a pace. Bar that, you was either going faster than your marathon pace or slower than your marathon pace up the hill. It was a tough race to pace.
So how did you manage that then? Going faster than, slower than? How did you aim for consistency across that period?
To be honest, after first 10k, I was a little bit up on what my pace was, but my race had kind of gone from the first downhill because I got round the race, but I had to kind of run on, because it was my left calf. I was kind of having to run on the small toes, so I wasn't striding through my big toe, because that's where the calf pain kind of came through. So I've had to kind of adapt and run on my left hand side. So early on, my quad, my knee, everything that I wasn't used to running on had started hurting pretty much. So I wasn't looking at pace. I was just going off effort at that point.
Right.
And by mile 16, I think I remember videoing to himself going, "Yeah, it's the end of the beginning here, or the beginning of the end." And you just know, don't you? You know.
Yeah, like that calf pain. Like, did you know in the first mile that that's going to be a problem, or was that because sometimes the adrenaline kind of can mask it a little bit, and I don't know if you were maybe also taking something to mask it. I know I would have been.
Yeah, I'd had a couple of paracetamol with it about an hour before, but genuinely I didn't warm up because it was there when I was walking.
Yeah.
And within the downhill's pretty steep, that first one. I don't want to say within the first few strides, but genuinely within the first couple of minutes, It was like, right, this is gonna. If it stays as it is, I might get away with it, but it didn't. It got worse, and then because I was adapting, other pain started coming.
And sometimes this can take over the total mindset, you know, the fact that I wanted to enjoy this moment, and here I am just dominating my thoughts as this calf pain. Were you able to enjoy that start? Because it's pretty iconic with a flyover. I know you took some videos of it, and then you've got like, what's the song they play, shipping out to Boston?
Dropkick Murphys.
Dropkick Murphys, yeah, that's what I remember. Like blaring over the speakers and everybody getting really patriotic, as they do. Were you able to kind of soak that sort of atmosphere in?
Yeah, I think from the start as well, everyone was just welcoming at the start, but you knew it was a big race at the Athlete Village, and then they walked you from Hopkinton, through to Hopkinton, which was like 3/4 of a mile, and then I was lucky enough to be close enough to the front with wave 1, but I think it's Corral 4, I think it was, so Corral 5.
Yep.
So you could hear the national anthem as well. But before that, one of the big kind of I don't know what plane it was. One of the kind of army planes came over, and everyone was kind of saluting and cheering and stuff. So that was, I think that was enough to kind of just settle down and realise that I'm probably not going to have the race I wanted to, but that was the moment that I knew I was in Boston. The American flags were there. Everyone was very patriotic, and there was probably 40 different countries running it, representing, probably more. So it was, it didn't take a lot for me to kind of just settle in. And it's once I got away, once I realised my race wasn't there was no other choice but to just dig in and realise you are in Boston.
And it sounds like, well, I was tracking you. I had the app on the go, and I was like, oh, wait to see how he's getting on. Hey, see how he's going. And I'm like that. Halfway, I was thinking, looks like you're kind of on the money. And then I was watching, I'm like, aye, we still got those Newton Hills, which are well talked about in terms of that series of hills for what, 15, 16 miles through to 20 miles. You said it was hilly, but there's a series of hills at that point that can separate the men for the boys, so to speak.
Yes.
What can I ask you? What did those hills, in terms of their gradient and length, was that what you expected?
No, I underestimated it, definitely. I thought they'd be. I don't think I thought the gradient would be less than what they were, but they were. I think the first one wasn't too bad. I think there were 5 of them. That was mile 16, give or take. But then Heartbreak Hill was definitely Heartbreak Hill, and the one, I think it was the second one, it just seemed to go on forever. But it was steep. The things, it was steep. It wasn't just a gradual one. We could just keep kind of turning over. But because I'd been warned about it, because you'd already kind of battered your hamstrings, your quads from the ups and downs. If you hadn't paced it properly, you were getting found out. And even though I had a calf issue, they found me out. Even without that, I'd have definitely been found out, I think, on the day, because I just wasn't expecting it. And I don't think I trained well enough to deal with those hills at that time.
It's really familiar. I was looking at the elevation charts and trying to kind of visualize the course and things like that, Carl.
Yeah.
And I remember, oh, yeah, those hills. I'm like, I do those hills all the time round about where I live. There were nothing. Americans didn't know hills. And it was like you, it was the gradient. And you said that second hill, and I can picture it still in my head in terms of there's a set of traffic lights at the top of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never getting any, like, this is absolutely steep as fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry to use a technical term. So it's actually bringing back a wee bit of PTSD for me there.
Yeah.
But this is about you. Sorry. That's guilt. I'm guilty of that there. It was just really familiar. You're at the top of Heartbreak Hill.
How did you find them?
Fucking hard.
Well, I'm glad.
Absolutely. And it derailed me.
Well, I think those that have done well and that have got through them have clearly, their training has gone near perfect. It has to have done, because the pace you're dropping on them hills is significantly slower than what your marathon pace would be. Like, mine was meant to be between, say, 6:13, 6:14, 6:15 a mile. Like, I just scraped pretty much 7-minute miling through that. So even if I was fully fit, I've still lost 40 seconds a mile on probably 3 of those miles with those hills, which has then dented my time completely anyway. So,
yep. And then, sorry, John, Heartbreak Hill has a lot of stories associated with it. We know why it's called Heartbreak Hill, and there's a famous incident that a runner broke the heart of another runner who thought they were getting away from them, and then they seen they were struggling on the hill, and that's the reason it's called Heartbreak Hill. At the top of that, Carl, which is around about the 20, just over 20 mile marker, I think, round about that. Yeah. And you look at the elevation profile, and it looks like the last 6 miles are easy ozy. They're downhill, but they're no.
No, I think overall the downhill, but it's the same again. You've got, to be fair, after Heartbreak Hill, you've got a really good downhill. But if you're on fresh legs, you can, like, I can imagine Lewis Bonus, for example, he'd absolutely tear that course apart because he's used to doing the ups and the downs at speed. But if you've nothing left, it doesn't matter whether it's flat, downhill, whatever. You're not hanging on to a pace that you want on those hills. It is downhill, but because you've done that much damage in that first 16, 17, 18 up to heartbreak, it's then, if you've got nothing left, you ain't finding the legs to pick up a pace, even though it is downhill.
And a side question, because when the realisation setting in that your day's no going to what you'd maybe dreamt about, I do anyway, start looking for other things to distract my attention. What was the best sign that you saw?
Best sign? I don't actually know. I don't think I saw many signs. Bar the sit go sign.
Yeah. Well, that's the best sign, because that's quite near the finish line. The sit go.
Yeah, you can see that for quite a bit though. But no, on anyone that's any sign, the best sign was earlier on, and the guy you thought he was naked, but he basically had pants on. But he had the sign round his midriff, and he'd be like, "If you don't run faster, I'm going to lift it up." And then he lifted up, and obviously he had pants on still. But it was the thought of it not being. But yeah, that was probably the best one.
Yeah.
This has got flashbacks of speaking to Stephen about Boston. Very, very, very similar.
I wasn't as fast as you, Carl, but at the same time, it's all relative.
It's also some golden nuggets in there for somebody listening in who wants to go and run Boston, because what you're told in all the media stuff is that come and run Boston. It's downhill at the start. And it's brilliant. Yeah. And the similarity I'm referring to is that these hills at the end, it was almost, and I think what you were saying, Carl, when you're talking about your standard or the pace you would like to be running your marathon at, you're losing potentially 40 seconds a mile, and that's a massive change in there too. So it's a wee heads up for somebody going along to maybe do a bit more delving into what's actually expected, because with the best will in the world, we didn't get to recce these, you know.
No, you don't. But it's tough, isn't it? Because these races are pretty much once in a lifetime, and they're either going to go really well or, well, it's going to go one way over, really, isn't it? And you've got to take what you can from that.
Speak to us about the finish.
The finish was, to be fair, the finish was epic. But realistically, they say Boston's like the loudest and everything else with it. Is it halfway? I don't know how to pronounce. Is it Wellesley?
The college, the girls.
That's only loud because it's girls and it's just one pitch. So no, it is very loud. But Manchester Marathon round Altrincham is louder than what Boston was when you're close into it. It's loud, but
it's all about Altrincham.
It's all about Altrincham, yeah. But you get it.
Listen, Carl, you were in wave 5, Coral 5. You were up the front. I sometimes think that the loudness comes later on, if you know what I mean. And sometimes if you're at the running at the pace that you're running, folk are still hitting their lattes and stuff.
Yeah, and the crowds aren't fully there. They were big crowds, but I've definitely London, that last 3 mile down the London stretch that many years ago, but London last 2-3 miles is probably the loudest I've ever had a race. Boston wasn't far off, but it wasn't that loud. But it's probably because the roads are wider. If you narrowed that in a little bit, I can imagine it being quite loud.
Yeah, it's quite boulevards. The one that I noticed, and I've spoken to other people who will share it, and it'll be one that you'll do at some point, I'm sure, in New York, is when you come into Manhattan for the first time over from Brooklyn, and you run into Manhattan and you come over a bridge. Can't remember what bridge it is, right? And you come down the off ramp of the bridge, and it feels like running into a stadium. It's the most intense part of any major marathon that I felt yet. So you've got that to come.
That sounds pretty epic.
Or come to Austerarder in November and run the Chile 10K, the UK's premier trail race. But you hear the noise there when you come back up that Johnny Hill.
Absolutely. Open invitation to the big boys to that one, by the way. I was going to mention something else. It was around about the training for Loch Ness. I was going to say Loch Ness. Check the Loch Ness Marathon elevation profile out. Put it right next to Boston. Bingo. Snap.
What's Loch Ness? Is it similar?
Very similar. Do you know, if you weigh them side by side, their elevation charts, 13 mile, really quick first half, and then hits a series of hills. Just really similar. So if anybody's looking for a Boston training run.
Yeah, so if you want to do a recce,
similar.
Closer you can get, or close air is Loch Ness. Good shout.
And you also, at Loch Ness, you get taken by bus 26 miles away from Inverness and you run back. So the similarities don't just end in the thing. Partly it's in the end of September, start of October. It can be feckin' Baltic.
Yeah, I think I've seen videos where on nice days and when that's a nice race start, it looks pretty epic, to be honest.
Absolutely. Says me who's never done it. I've just thought about it.
Yeah. But that's the same with any race. Like Boston, on the day before, I was walking around and it was lashing it down. We were taking shelter. It was sideways rain. On the morning, getting there during the race, it was beautiful blue skies, a little bit of cloud, about 12 degrees. And then once we finished, it was cold, not wet, but it was cold and a bit miserable with it. But if you get the day before building up to Boston and you're waiting around for your bus, your bag drop, you're waiting around in the athletes' village, that race the day before would have been absolutely awful. It'd have been awful. And the memories coming away from it would have just been, how bad was that? So we got lucky again.
Yeah. Did they have warming buses at the end? Did you notice again? Like buses that were just parked in the street with heaters on them?
I didn't see them, no. I didn't see them.
Just for cold athletes.
Yeah, to be fair, it wasn't that cold, but they had the foil blankets out and everything else. Quite a lot of them.
One of them.
I was fascinated with the buses in terms of when they were giving you your bags back at the end. They did them through the windows, so you've got your numbers lined up, and they're obviously trying to search you. The people, like, I think the red wave, the faster people sometimes are just a bit. I'm not saying arsey, but look, these are volunteers. If it takes 10 minutes to get your bags, it takes 10 minutes. You've just done the Boston Marathon. You've got a Boston Marathon medal on. You've got your little blanket on. Just let them do what they're there to do. Like, people were getting a bit aggressive about it. I'm just like, just chill out a bit. Like, it's just done Boston Marathon. But I bet you guess that in red wave, white wave, blue wave. It's not just the red wave.
You mentioned medal. It's a belter of a medal, isn't it?
Yeah, I've not got it anywhere. Don't show it.
Here it goes.
Here we go. We spoke about it last. It's beautiful, man.
I think the reason it's good is because the Bank of America have taken it over the past 2 years. So they've
very shiny, man. It's very shiny.
Gold, very shiny. But yeah, it's all right. I'll get that frame with the other ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe send us a photograph of that, because not everybody watches the YouTube, and now they'll be running about on a Saturday morning going, I wish I could see that. So if you could send us a photograph.
That is true. And you're wearing your Boston Marathon t-shirt, which is always nice because it's long sleever, which is a bit of a rarity.
Brilliant. Is it comfy? Is it Adidas? It is Adidas, isn't it?
Yeah, to refer all the kit and the stuff they had in the expo, if it wasn't absolutely mental, I'd have probably bought more kit. But I made a mistake. I did my ordering before we went. So I bought the jackets before, and I bought a couple of t-shirts and another vest for Sophie, I think. But I don't know if it's Trump tax or not, but I ended up paying like 240 quid import tax, which I didn't even clock onto. The jackets were only, well, I'm not saying only, but they were 100 quid each, the jackets. And I'd ended up spending like double that plus more to actually get them in. Just because I didn't want to queue up at the expo and potentially not have Sophie's like an extra small. So I thought, if I get them now, there's going to be no disappointment at the expo. But instead,
the finisher's jacket, which I think I can see in your rear view mirror there, Carl, is quite the collectible, isn't it? In terms of that's a big part.
I think the biggest part of it is the same as Lakeland in terms of when you're walking around in a Lakeland top and you've done it, people recognise you. And we had a conversation with me and Sophie before we left and was like, look, once we leave Boston, like, I'm not saying no one will care, but once you get back off that plane and go home, I said, people ask you for a couple of days about it. I said, then after that, you're back to normal life. Because in Boston, it's like Lakeland weekend in terms of everyone's backing each other. People are driving past, pumping because you had your jacket on, saying well done. And as soon as you get off the airport and come home, like, don't give a shit. No, because people do. They'll say well done, but like, I've been back to work and they asked me about it on the Friday, and then Monday, no one's asked. Unless you're a runner, no one's asked about it at all. And even then,
I've got a brilliant story, man. Stephen brought back a T-shirt for me from Boston. Blue with the yellow writing. I ran 26.2 miles in Boston. I'm running in the North End. People still say to me, well done, mate. Cheers, man. I've never been to Boston in my life.
Oh, yeah, that was that Sam Adams one.
Sam Adams, that was it. Stephen, what Carl's top? What football clubs shouting, screaming out at you for that top?
Saints? Boca Juniors?
See that?
Yeah.
I'm also... Somehow, I'm getting a Leeds United vibe for that.
From yesterday, FA Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dirty Leeds.
Yeah, so, dirty Leeds.
So, I think this...
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
We've not actually covered Carol's finishing time yet.
No. Go for it.
Because you've crossed the line now, and nobody's going, what did he finish in, and what was his target?
What
was your finish time?
Target was 2. But I'll quickly go into it. I've done a challenge this year where I can't cut my hair until I've run a PB on the trail and the road. So Boston was... All my other PBs are really good. My marathon time is 2:44:37, which is also really good, but was very achievable. I came away with 2:50:37, so 6 minutes shy of what I could have done. So my hair is going to carry on growing until I've no idea now.
2:44 was the target. 2:50 was what you come away with.
Yep.
Jet lagged, kind of injured, underestimating the hills. Listen, that's to me, that's an awesome result. Well done.
Yeah.
Does it put you in the frame of mind to, once you get your injury sorted out, to go for it again in 2026? With the marathon being on the road, your most likely achievable target.
Yeah, but I won't be waiting until next year to go at another marathon. It'll be October. I'll be doing another, because I'm one of those. I am competitive, and within myself, there's a lot more there. I just need to pick the right marathon, and pretty much, I don't think I qualify for Boston with that time. Going off what previous is, because it was under 2:50 last year to get in. So 2:50:37, I don't think would qualify for it.
What you need to do is get older.
Yeah, but even then,
I know. Tell me about it.
I've got a question about hair. Is it just 2026? What if it gets to Hogmanay, 31st of December, and you've not done that? Are you allowed to cut your hair? Are you going to commit right now that you're going to keep your hair growing until you beat these 2 PBs?
It's there's not a time zone on it from the start. I always set it first week in January. It was pretty much the challenge was until I run a PB on the road and the trail. So I've not done any yet, and we're in April. So
have you seen that Man United fan who grew his hair until 5 games?
He's on like 550, 600 days now, and it looks ridiculous. That was kind of where the idea came from. But to raise money now for the Christie, I've done the cycling, I've done the Lakeland 100, I've done the marathon. So for me to get sponsorship for something that I love doing, it's got to a point where I had to kind of add something else in.
Yeah.
And I think I've kind of mixed it up a bit with taking the mickey out myself a little bit with long hair potentially over the next 6-12 months. And it gets people talking about cancer again. It's 20 years this year. So it's just a bit of something just to add to it, instead of going, please sponsor me for something that I really, really like to do. Will you pay for another marathon for me in Tokyo, for example? So I had to put something else
Is that
in
a
there.
plea? Is that a plea? What
Yes.
what product are you using in your hair?
Nothing. Tarmac fumes, pretty much.
Wow.
You work on the road. John's also doing a no cutting his hair in 2026 thing at the moment.
I've seen a few. I've seen a few. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
how you finding it?
Tough, man. My hair, for people that can remember, my hair is like Michael Jackson when he was 4 years old, like an afro. Right? my hair goes like that. So I'm currently on Raw Cream Gel. It's like, you mentioned tarmac. This is like tarmac, this stuff, honestly.
Is it the white stuff, like the putty sort of thing?
No, I've got some of that, but that doesn't even touch the sides, man. That's no good. My hair's like a burst mattress when I wear that. So I'm using this Brow Cream Gel. I don't know, it's the strongest stuff you get. But honestly, but at the end of the day, it's just like, if I put my hands through my hair, it just goes crazy, man. It just goes crazy. But I'm committed.
Nick used well, what Carl, he has well shaved off by then when he achieves his goals. John is going for the whole year regardless. So
31st of December, yeah, get my next haircut. Yeah, that's it.
To be honest, John, I generally think I'll be joining you on that one. So we'll see what it's like another 8 months' time. Because 8 months is a long time to keep growing it. I don't know about you, but I've never had long hair because it might have been longer on top, but it's always been nipped around the sides because it just does my head in after a bit.
Yeah.
I'm finding it starting to really annoy me when I'm running because I get hot anyway, and it's just like, there's nowhere for the heat to go.
You'll hear top knot in that soon, John.
Honestly, man.
Do you remember?
I don't think you understand what it's like, Stephen.
Do you remember Gazza with Ginola when he signed for Everton and he came on the pitch with that big long grey wig on to like running next to him?
It was like a mop.
Potential.
Brilliant.
Right, listen, back to, let's talk about podcasts. Can we do that? Because obviously you got the Brig Boys podcast. What was the idea behind that? Why did you start doing a podcast?
To be honest, I thought about it a bit today, and I'd like to say I've got a definitive answer, but I don't. I think we just came together and we've been doing these marathons, we've been training together, we've got to a pretty good standard. And I think we just kind of went for it. I think Steve's the stat man and everything else. He does all the research and everything else. He was like, there was a certain percentage of only X amount of podcasts have survived past 5 episodes or something. So we've kind of gone, tell you what, let's start a podcast up. Let's talk about running because we love talking about running. We've been involved in park run for 10, 12 years now. All our mates are kind of involved in the running side. So it's kind of like, let's start one up. I think we started it around Lakeland time. So we started on that theme. And then after 2 or 3, where you kind of started getting a bit of interest, it was like, do you know what? Let's just stick at this and see what comes of it. There was no set goals and like, oh, we want to get certain followers or go down a certain kind of route. It was just, let's meet up every couple of weeks. It's good for our friendship. We get to talk about stuff, not just podcast stuff. We get to talk about life, as well as running. So it's kind of a good catch up on that side of things as well. But
sorry, Stephen.
That was a 3 at the winner there, wasn't it? I was going to say the Brig Boys, is that where you're from? Is that the name? Where's that derived from?
Yeah, with that, we live in Bamberbridge, which is near Preston. Right. But we used to go running with the Brig Boys, and we've been running along just basically calling ourselves the Brig Boys because Brig is short for Bamberbridge, and an old 18th century term for it, which we didn't really know, but we do now. And so yeah, we just used to mock ourselves, say we're the Brig Boys, running along, skipping along, and then that's where it came from, pretty much. The Brig Boys.
Well, and I think you came on our radar around about that launch time, and we us doing some stuff on the Lakeland as well. Maybe like that's when we came on your radar. I'm not even sure. But when we did first kind of catch up with you, we could kind of tell we're of similar, you know. Yeah, we all like a running, but don't take ourselves too seriously here.
Yeah.
And there was a certain sink, I think, John, is that fair to say?
Definitely. Well, I think Karl and Steve were wearing jumpsuits, Top Gun jumpsuits, the first time we met them down in Coniston. Yeah.
They were. They were
I think that's
indeed.
when
They
you
were
barged me out of the way, John, weren't it? Give me a little shoulder nudge.
A slight nudge. So we all right, mate?
Just to,
and you
just to let you know
accepted
what
it
I mean.
gracefully, and then that was it, man. That was it. The connect was there. Yeah. Cool. But I think, as Stephen says, we're both similar crack and have a bit of a laugh. And Stephen says, don't take yourself too seriously. And also, I think yourselves have had some phenomenal learning from the guests that you have on and people that you speak to. You know, the knowledge I've gained from the stuff that Steve and I have done has been probably, well, life-changing, actually. The people that we've spoken to. And you guys have a similar vibe as well, haven't you? So
yeah, and we're like, compared to you boys, we're relatively new to what we're doing, because like you're on what episode number, what, season 49 or whatever it is, something mental. So, how many episodes are you on now? Do you know exactly what you're on in terms of, because I know you do it in series, don't you?
We do. We've got 20 episodes a season. So, and this is season 15.
Right.
So we'll be closing in on 300, I imagine, because we've done quite a lot of offshoots as well. So we'll maybe even be on 300. But we purposely didn't call them episode 152. We made that wee sort of decision just to go with let's keep it seasons and episode numbers, and then it's not about a number of episodes. I'll hate to go and look.
I quite like that though, because like I say, it's not like we're on, I think it's 81 now.
Yep.
It's just going to keep going out. Where, like you said, it's quite nice talking about season 3, episode 4. You know, I quite like that style of it. So
yeah.
I've just had a look because we've got the analytics. This, Karl, Stephen's spot on. This is episode 301.
The 301.
This is episode 301.
My favourite number.
It's a sign. It's a neon sign, man.
Episode 301. Wait, can you tell us, Karl, like, you know, when you first put the first one out there, and I don't know if it's Steve who's looking at your analytics, and you're like, is anybody actually listening? Has anybody listened?
It's all done in Steve's bedroom, so he's on the Mac, so he's got he's got all like the analytics to it, and I think he loves all that side of it. So when the podcast is released, I think he's got his own routine where he might check a day, 3 days, 5 days, or something like that, and do it. But I think it was good probably after 18 months where he actually started noticing what people are regularly coming back now. Because at the start, you kind of like, what we're doing this for? They're like, no one's really listening to it, because you've got to get it. You can't just record it and expect people to listen. You've then got to start to kind of get it out there a little bit, speak to people about it, message people, and it takes a lot of hard work. You'll know yourself that it's not just a case of recording it, it's everything else, putting it together, editing it, and then actually getting it out there as well.
And that's where I think it's brilliant. Things like Lakeland is brilliant when you actually get to meet people, have a bit of crack with them, and that's where it can spread as well, and people ask about it, and it's brilliant when you get to meet folk.
I think your point, or Steve's point around about May's podcast didn't last after 5, but then doing it as a double act almost, where you're sort of sharing the workload as well to a certain extent. Do you know, when John does all the vital stuff to do our recording and editing and such like, and then I'll do a bit of the social media and we kind of right, who's doing the question set this week or whatever it may be, you know. But by having the two of yous it does allow that chance of success to kind of go a bit further in 5, and to get to into the 80s with your episodes, show that you've got that foundation, and it's growing. And you know, I can see it on your social media how well received it all is. It's great to see, and I love listening as well.
You've also sold some brilliant merch. You've got t-shirts and everything, haven't you? No, I mean, some of the merch that you guys...
To be fair, that is... I do like that.
Isn't that a belter? It is, yeah.
It is. Who does do you both do that, the design side of things behind it, or...
We rely on somebody much more talented than usually. Like we'll maybe have a concept in our mind's eye, and then we've got a good friend, Angie, who's a graphic designer, who
Right.
like listen to our ramblings and sometimes little sketches that we've kind of drawn out, and she makes it come to life.
We have the ideas between each other, and then she makes it look really good.
Yeah, which is what you want. You need someone like that, don't you?
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely. Also thinking about the merch and that, linking this back to that football thing, Stephen's put some football related questions in. We have an upcoming tournament, Stephen. Do you want to hear me chat with Karl about that?
Yes, the theme of this current season is all around about the World Cup, and that's because it's quite a rare thing for our nation to qualify for said tournament, first time in 28 years for Scotland. However,
it's massive. It's massive, isn't it? Like I will never truly know how big it is for obviously the Scottish and everything else, but it must be huge. Like it's not just the Euros; it's the World Cup. You know, like it's the World Cup.
Yeah, and both our nations are involved, so we're both at the party. Wales were unlucky. Northern Ireland were unlucky also. So yeah, we're here representing the UK, but there is a friendly rivalry between the Three Lions and the Tartan Army, as we know. And we've got a confidence this June, haven't we, John? A confidence that we're going to do something that we've never done before, which is get past the group stages.
That would be fantastic.
It would be, and we're well aware that our neighbours south of the border have got a bit more riches in terms of their squad depth, etc., etc. But we've got all the passion that you can ever imagine. We've got a wee forfeit for you should Scotland get further than England in the World Cup, and that would be to wear a Scotland shirt on your recordings of your podcasts and on your YouTube channel and all that kind of kiki. Up for that?
I'd have no issues with that. If you wanted me to do a race in it as well, I'd be all up for that.
Okay, so it's over to Super John McGinn and Scott McTominay to sort this out, which should be fun. And it so happens that England are playing one of their games in Boston in June, and Scotland play a couple of games in Boston as well. So kind of wee bit linked to running and such like, but I'm not quite sure there'll be many Tartan Army members or England supporter squad members doing much in the way of running the Newton Hills. I wouldn't imagine.
Can I throw in a Stephen?
What?
If England win the World Cup,
fuck, careful.
If England win the World Cup, will you wear an England top for a recording of Young Hearts Run Free podcast?
No problem for me.
Here we go.
If they win it.
If they win it, yeah.
They
always talk about it's coming home, so do you know? So
yeah. To be fair, right, at the beginning of the marathon, I just left the village, and one of I think I said thanks to one of the marshals that was letting us through, and he was like, "Oh, you're from Ireland?" I was like, "No, I'm from England." And then I think he was like a Hispanic American Mexican bloke. I was like, "It's coming home, it's coming home." Obviously not in a northern accent, but straight away he was on it. He was like, "You're always saying it's coming home, aren't you? And it never does." You know, like, it's not what I needed 20 minutes before a marathon, but it was good crack. Good crack.
Took your mind off the sore leg for a bit.
Yeah, even he knew it was coming home.
Brilliant. It's just about to start building up in the media, all this stuff as well. Once we get we've got Scottish elections next week. That's the big talking point here. Once that's hit the road, it'll be full on World Cup on the
get the season finished and whatnot, and it'll be ramping right up just in time for us to release more merch.
So listen, we could talk about football tonight.
I know.
That's not what the listeners are here for. That's not what they're here for. But they will be enjoying this out, getting this perspective from south of the border too. So thank you very much for that, Karl. But
you're welcome,
Stephen. Let's run up our old double D.
The double D. The dialect dictionary is open once again for a submission, this time from the north west of England, or maybe not, as it may happen. What word or phrase are you going to throw into our dialect dictionary, Karl?
the phrase I'm going to put in is I didn't really have any words. So the phrase I've got is one I've used for 20 years now, which is "it's all in the mind," which came from when I was having my cancer. It always goes back to the cancer story. When I was first having my treatment, my dad, I can't remember the exact moment, but he always used the phrase of like, "it's all in the mind." It was, no matter what you're kind of going through, it's like if you control it, then you will get through it. And I think from that, you can kind of relate. If you're going to use that during chemotherapy and through hard days, then you can use that in terms of day-to-day life. In your running, you can use it whatever it is, because at the end of the day, it is all in your mind. And if you can control that to a point, then you can do some good things with it.
Brilliant. I like the sentiment of that.
Yeah.
Karl, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And it's one that it's just stuck with me, that, and I don't think it'll ever go that.
A mantra.
It'll stand you in good stead. And everybody else. You just said something else that I thought was a brilliant bit of dialect as well, that end it day.
End it day.
I like that.
Sound like Mel there.
Okay.
Two for the price of one there. Both ends.
Music.
Yeah.
I don't know if you listen to music podcasts, whatever, when you're running or training, when you're doing what you're doing, your part runs and so on. But we have a La Buff Buff playlist. I think we're on volume 12.
We are.
What would you like to add in for the Young Hearts Run Free listeners, Karl?
I'm gonna. It was a tough one between. Like, I was brought up with this. I'm more of a fan of me mum and dad's music, and that was kind of like Madonna, Phil Collins, Beautiful South sort of thing. But Meatloaf is the one that I stuck with. I've seen him in concert, and Meatloaf is my go-to albums whenever I'm running. Some of the songs are like, well, Bat Out of Hell's like 9 minutes long, so you can get a good use out of that. But the one I'm going for is Meatloaf, and it's called Alive, which was released in 2026, which was pretty much the same week that my treatment had finished. So Meatloaf bringing a new album out at the time was pretty massive, because he hadn't released anything for years. But it was about overcoming adversity, about his own journey, his own life issues and everything else with it. And it's a pretty epic song, to be honest. It's just a standard Meatloaf song. It's got the orchestra in the background, the kind of the theme of, I can't even know, like the musical style thing with it as well. So that's the one I'm going for.
I don't think I know that, so I'm going to get the pleasure of listening to that. I know the Bat Out of Hell album. I know that, and some of the big hits. I think you're only the second person to choose a Meatloaf track. The first was another fantastic athlete called Bunty, Lindsay McLaughlin. She chose Pure Dead Ringer for Love. I think that was Meatloaf and Cher, wasn't it? Did that?
Yeah, that was like the early, so that's like the 80s stuff, isn't it, I think.
But Meatloaf Alive, thank you very much for that. And obviously very significant to you at that time of your life as well. And it's obviously, and sounds like it's something that still spurs you on along the trail.
Yeah, and it was just the fact that Meatloaf had released an album in my time when I was an adult as well, so it worked out pretty well.
What was Meatloaf like live?
In concert, probably the best concert I'd done, but he did Bat Out of Hell third, and then I don't think he came on again for about another 15 minutes, because he must have been, when did I see him? 2011, I think it was, 2010. So he was at some age then. He was a big bloke. But once he'd sung Bat Out of Hell, I think he were a bit knackered, to be honest. So he'd had a bit of a break, then come back out. But yeah, to be fair, voice-wise, vocally, there's no one ever touched Meatloaf live.
Brilliant.
Superb. It's added.
Yeah. This has been it's one of these chats. It feels like 15 minutes, but I think we're probably kicking an hour and a half easy. This seems to be a theme as well, Stephen. This season's like the length of a game of football, isn't it? They're about 90-minute odds.
This has got additional time.
Did you ever have a plan?
Extra time? Yeah.
Did you ever have a time plan from when you started these, in terms of, right, we're going to stick to an hour, and that's what we're going to do? It never happens, does it?
Nah, we didn't. We kind of, sometimes an hour feels about right, but it's usually hour 20, hour 30, and there's plenty of went over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough though, because the questioning sometimes just goes on to another story. We found it sometimes where, probably same as well, some people just don't want to shut up, do they? They're like, just carry on.
Totally.
Yeah.
But then that's like John will often come in and say, right, we'll get you back for part 2. You know?
Yeah,
two for the price of one.
Yeah, and I
That's
think
a
as
polite
well.
way of saying shut the fuck up.
I
Right,
think
we'll
also,
be back for part 2 next week.
I think also a lot of people, you think it from the other side, from a listener side, folk are out for maybe an hour and a half or 2 hour run and maybe at the weekend. So this just fills the space for them, or maybe part of that space for them too. So that's maybe the way I look at it.
Yeah, or if you do 2 45-minute runs, you're perfect for Monday, Tuesday, aren't you? So,
hell, one thing I listen to Talk Sport in the morning. They've got and in the evening actually, and it's like Andy Goldstein does a sort of 20-minute podcast. I'm like, 20 minutes with him, touch the sides. It would be like, okay, that's us done then. Oh, wow, that wasn't.
But the attention span nowadays of people, if you listen to podcasts, I think you've got a bit more. I'm not saying to you, but you actually do have a bit more attention than some people. But the generation nowadays, even myself and younger people, Instagram, everything else, it's all designed on 30 seconds a minute, keep flicking through, where these are a little bit different, aren't they? So
yeah,
I like different.
We do.
Been brilliant speaking to you, Karl. Loved it, man. I knew it was going to be a good one from that first nudge outside that tent. Brought us to here, but thank you so much for your time tonight.
I don't think you realised.
And also, you've shared some really personal stuff, but I think it hopefully will land with a lot of people. And these wee signs as well, going back to when you're talking about when you got your diagnosis, there's some wee warning signs in there as well that people can listen to. But equally, over and above that, I've loved hearing about your running story. I hope you get a haircut this year, man. That would be brilliant. Have you picked a trail race? Have you picked something you're going to go for?
So the idea was, it was pretty much PB at Boston, then PB at Lakeland 100, and that'd be done by end of July. I could get me a cut in a field somewhere, and then that'd be it. But now it's, I don't know.
Okay,
so,
are you doing Lakeland 100?
I'm on the 100 again this year, yeah. But it all depends on. I have no issues in dropping out of races nowadays. If I'm fit and ready, yeah. But I'm not putting my body through 39.5 hours again. I'm just not willing to do it.
Okay.
If I don't feel I'm in the shape to give a decent performance, then I can't sacrifice another 6 months of just being injured again. So
again, the door's open, man. November, the Chile 10K. You're gonna set a PB, man. You're gonna get a PB. It's a gift.
It is. It's a gift.
Guaranteed PB.
Guaranteed PB. I know a barber in Perth. We can go into Perth afterwards and get a haircut. Karl, it's been brilliant. I'm going to hand over to Stephen to wrap us up. But thank you so much for chatting. Thank you.
No, thank you, John. Appreciate it.
That's been awesome, Karl. I've been really looking forward to chatting with you. And I must say, your sort of Boston is really recent memories for you, but it evoked a lot of similar feelings that I had. So thank you for sharing that as well, and just your whole running story and everything. It's been great to spend some time to get you to know you a wee bit better. We do feel a bit of synergy between the podcasts, and we encourage people to go and who haven't maybe before to go over and listen to Karl and Steve's Brig Boys podcast, because it's of similar non always serious nature to the Young Hearts Run Free podcast. Absolutely awesome. Thanks very much for making the time to speak to us, and we'll maybe catch up with your sidekick soon enough as well.
Yes, yeah. I know he's got a few races coming up, hasn't he? So we'll see how they go. But got to start training though. Have a do him. Tell him to start training properly.
We can have a bit of an analytics face-off, see who gets the most listens.
Yeah. To be fair, Steve's your man for that. He's on that big time. But you're the GOATs, aren't you? So like, we can't. If we're competing with you at any point, I think we've done very, very well. So I have no issues in being at the shadow of you two. So
thank you. But I'm thinking Karl and Steve's Young Hearts Run Free podcast numbers are going to be ideal.
Oh, this will be your biggest episode because I'm on it.
That's the fighting talk. That's the fighting talk. Karl, thank you so much, man.
No, thank you very much, appreciated. And we'll be in touch soon anyway. So
maybe see you in July.
Right, it's been a pleasure. And come on United and come on England, because football is coming home. So
We'll cut that bit.